Hi there, Laura Brandenburg. Happy Halloween. If you are in the US and watching this video soon after it's published, it's on or near Halloween, and this is a special edition of our video series because we're doing a trick or treat video series today. I've got my orange and black on. Those are Halloween colors here, and I'm going to take it a step further. This is crazy. First time ever in a Bridging the Gap video. I'm going to do this with the tiara. This is from my 3-year-old my 3-year-old's Halloween costume. She's going to be Tinkerbell. Okay, does that look ridiculous? Probably a little. We are business analysts. We still get to have fun. First time ever video with a Tinkerbell tiara on. But we're talking about tricks or treats as a business analyst. And what I really mean by that is things that feel like they are issues in the moment, but are actually treats in disguise. So how can we reframe the things that happen, the issues that pop up in our work as BAs, so that we actually feel like they are a positive thing that we can move forward from. So the first one is when we get feedback on a model or a requirement, it's like, hey, you didn't get this right. It's totally wrong. Because at first we can feel like we did something wrong, right? Aren't we supposed to know the requirements? We're the BAs after all, right? Didn't I get this right? Should I have worked harder? Should I have analyzed it more? Should I have kind of figure this out somehow? And most often, if you're asking questions and doing analysis and doing your best to prepare for your meetings and prepare for your models and doing the research that a normal business analyst would do, most often you didn't actually do anything wrong. Most often that feedback of you didn't get this right or you made a mistake is really the feedback that we needed. It's why we create these models in the first place, okay? And so I really want you to not feel like you somehow messed up when that happened, and instead just reframe that. Hey, great. I want to hear about my mistake. How would you correct this requirement? What would you add to this model? Let's have a discussion about it. Totally move on. It's not a mistake. Okay. Second thing that can be seem really icky at first, and we're going to reframe it, is what happens if you just hear crickets. Like you ask a question and then nothing, silence. Silence is uncomfortable, isn't it? Kind of like wearing a tiara video for a business analyst. But it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable for you. It's uncomfortable for your stakeholders. But sometimes people need time to think. If you are more introverted, we just had a video about being a more introverted business analyst. Some of our stakeholders are more introverted. Maybe we need time to think. Maybe I don't know quite the answer. Maybe I'm nervous, or maybe I'm expecting somebody else to pipe up with the answer. So give that a little bit of space. It's okay to have some silence in our meetings. It doesn't have to be boom, 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 boom like that. You can have silence. So allow that silence to work its magic and for people to come up with their answers. You know, you don't want to go on forever though. You wouldn't want to have like 5 minutes of silence in a meeting unless you're actually all doing independent brainstorming, which is a great technique to break silence. You know, like having everybody just independently write their own ideas and then get together and share those. Great way to engage introverted stakeholders as well and give them some space to actually have those thoughts. So, use a technique like that to break the silence. Again, go back to modeling. You draw something up on the whiteboard and let them point out your mistakes instead of trying to feel like they have to come up with the answer for you, or at first, right? So you kind of lead them through it and kind of help them get that yes but response. Or as a last resort, like, do you really not have the right stakeholders in the room? And again, all of these are positive things. So you're learning from, if they're having difficulty answering the question, maybe there's a better technique I need to use as a business analyst to engage them. If they don't know the answer to the question, maybe there's somebody else I should be asking. Okay, so there's always a way to take that a step forward and to use that as information that moves your project forward. So the third one that I'm going to talk about, which is really common, is when a tech person says, hey, great requirements idea, totally impossible, can't do it. Particularly frustrating when it comes up after your stakeholders, like after you've involved them in some sort of review, right? So they've been involved maybe in a bit of the requirements process and nodded their head and said, yeah, that makes sense. And now somewhere along the way they said, like, sorry, we can't do it. Okay, it's frustrating, and hard usually to go back to the business stakeholders, but think of the alternative. So would it have been better for them to continue on with implementing those requirements, and maybe they never, the plug would have been pulled out on the project before they could implement anything of value? Whereas if they're coming back to you early and saying, hey, we can't do it like you designed or like the requirements say, or we need to make some adjustments, often, that's a time where you can still negotiate and figure out alternate solutions and get together and create a better outcome before like months have gone by and now it's really too late and nothing of value is delivered, right? Or would it have been better if they just did it whatever they wanted? So, right, like coming back to you and saying, hey, this isn't going to work is actually better than them just coming up with an alternative solution and implementing that instead, which happens, that's a bigger problem because that's the silence problem. That's the not hearing back about your requirements problem. So again, that feedback is always a blessing in disguise. And so instead of thinking of it as a trick of like, it's so hard, it is hard, but it's an opportunity to revise the requirements and come up with a new solution. So again, Halloween in the US, my Tinkerbell, I wish I had the Tinkerbell tiara. I wish she had the wand with her costume so we could just go trick, turn that into a treat, trick, turn that into a treat. But the theme here is more information is better information. So the more that your process, your business analysis process, is moving forward in your learning, your stakeholder engagement, getting feedback, even if it's not the feedback you really wanted or thought of or expected, as long as it's moving the process forward, you're heading in the right direction. So always be thinking about how can I turn this trick into a treat, and you'll be on the path to doing better business analysis. And have a happy Halloween. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.